What does it mean to be a man? This is a difficult question in our day and age. If you put it out on social media and ask what does it mean to be a man, you will find a large spectrum of ideas and opinions. And for many of us, it is difficult to know what it means to be a man. And I don't just mean physically. You'll see nowadays lots and lots of men who, while they might have all the physical attributes of manhood, they lack in the ability to act in what we consider manly. And there are also those, if you read the news or search on social media, you can find out a lot about what is called toxic masculinity, an idea that is being perpetrated now to try and teach men that the very things that make them men in psychology and in the way that we act are wrong and need to change, and that men need to just be more like women. That all the world would be better if men were just more like women. I'm sorry, we have enough women. We need some men. Now, if you want to know what it takes to be a man, well, looking forward doesn't seem to be getting us anywhere. In all truth, if we want to understand what it means to be a man, there's only one way to look. You actually have to look back. The saying goes, those who do not learn from their history are doomed to repeat it. Carl Jung, a psychologist and a contemporary of Sigmund Freud, learned that by looking back, by looking at myths, looking at legends, looking at the ideals and the idyllic men placed up on pedestals throughout mythology as heroes, that you could discover what it was that men all throughout history have known are the key principles of being a man and of manhood. And we need those back in our society today. He defined that there are a certain number of archetypes that all stories funnel into. And particularly, there are four. There are four archetypes that funnel all of your characters that you love, all the characters that you wish you could be like, all the heroes of all of our movies that are the epitome of what we'd like to be like as men. There's four archetypes that all of them fit into. These four archetypes are the king, the magician, the lover, and the warrior. These four archetypes are different approaches to dealing with our problems in life and to dealing with the outside world. Now, each of these has the ideal, the pinnacle of what it means to be a good man. But they also have both what can happen when you don't live up to that archetype quite right. For each, there is the archetype that you are shooting for and what is called the shadows, what Jung described as the psychological shadow of masculinity, the way in which that archetype can go wrong. If you talk with people, a lot of them talk back about, oh, look, you've got these characters of masculinity. Yeah, but they're just dominating women. Well, no, they're not. But they could. You're right, they could. If they go into the shadow, they could become the awful, the evil, the villain very easily. And so we as men actually walk a tight line between the hero and the villain. If you really look at our current movies, you look at all of the Marvel and DC Universe movies that are coming out, the difference between the hero and the villain is not in what they do. They both beat people up generally. They both fight. It is the reason that they do it and the way in which they do it that makes all the difference. So with these four archetypes, each one has two shadows. The first, the king. The king is the pinnacle. It is the king who is the leader, who takes all those underneath him and raises them up, makes them better. King Arthur is the pinnacle of this in mythology. He took his kingdom of Camelot and he raised it to a new level. He took the class system and instead did the round table where all people had a voice that were at the table. He raised people up. That's the king. But you can easily fall into the two shadows. The tyrant, who always makes all the decisions, keeps everything the same, smashes down his enemies. He thinks that he's doing it to protect himself and the kingdom. But it has a devastating effect on that kingdom. And we've got the weakling. The weakling can't do jack squat. He's a coward. He can't do anything. Nothing happens and anarchy reigns. The magician. The magician is the keeper of secret knowledge. They understand things that no one else does, and they help introduce people into these secret places and spaces and knowledge. Merlin. Merlin is the keeper of the knowledge. He has his magic to teach, and he helps Arthur, especially if you look at the Disney adaptation of King Arthur. He teaches Arthur mathematics. He teaches him about the way the world works. He introduces him into this new world. But the magician can also be the detached manipulator. He can be Loki, the trickster, who uses his knowledge and his craft to deceive. You've got the innocent one, the one who don't know jack squat. They are so scared of knowledge and of failure in learning that they learn nothing. You've got the lover, one of the most important of the archetypes. The lover is the one who gives and receives love and enjoys life. The Roman god Bacchus, the god of wine, is the perfect example. He loves to just enjoy his wine and his food and his women and enjoy the sensations of life. This is an important archetype because it's where we get our enjoyment, not necessarily our fulfillment, but all of our enjoyment out of life. And then comes the warrior. Now, the warrior archetype is one that is honestly a little beat to death among male cultures. It is the one that is focused on primarily. Why? Because the warrior kept you alive and kept you fed. So he was really, really important. But he serves a purpose. The warrior is the accomplisher of great feats. He's the one that drives you to achievement, to do great things with your life. However, he can easily fall into his two shadows. His desire for strength can make him hate those who are weak and to attack those who are weak, to be the sadist, the inflictor of pain, the villain who attacks people who are weaker than him, or the masochist, the warrior who knows he should achieve but lacks courage to go out and do it, so he sits at home and beats himself up all day long. And all he does is talk about how he is not good enough. Homer Simpson sits there, moping on his couch, scratching his belly. He can't do anything. He lacks the capacity and the drive to go out and do things that are brave. And so he sits there, and then at times throughout the series, because generally he is oblivious of his shadow, at times he gets discouraged. But then you'll notice, then the moment comes, he becomes a warrior for a split second, maybe does something good for the family before the episode ends. These four archetypes are what every man is striving to be. We want to be the warrior who achieves, the lover who loves and is loved. Okay? This is where the desire for that physical and emotional connection with women comes from. The magician who knows all the cool facts, who can do really awesome things that other people don't know how to do. And the king who leads, governs, and directs his kingdom, his home, his family, his business. These are the four ideals we seek for. But most of the time we spend our time in the shadow. We're the tyrants at home, demanding obedience from our children. We're the sadist who's going to achieve the goal regardless of who it hurts. We're the impotent lover who is emotionally stilted because we don't know how to deal with the emotions. We don't know how to tell our wife that we're struggling but not be weak. We don't know how to do that. But if we look at the legends, we look at the myths, the stories tell us how to do that. They tell us what we need to be. But we've stopped telling stories. We've stopped looking at them that way. You watch the Marvel movies and you don't look in them and see, hey, look what Captain America does here. How can we do that? How could I be more like that? We don't do that. We just sit there and watch them, absorb them. But there's so much to learn. That's what I will teach you. That's what this channel is all about, is teaching you how to start seeing in those stories, in those characters that you know you want to be like. I'm going to show you why you want to be like them and what you can do to actually make it happen. What it takes to become the man that Captain America is, to become the King Arthur was. The secrets are there. We just have to learn. As we learn from the past, we can create a far, far better future than the one we currently live in. This is Weston Bell with Men of Legends. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe. Check out our other videos.